Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, to the Green White Checkered podcast. I'm your host this week, old Shake and Drake. I'm here, of course, with Biggles, Jay Soley, Picks by Fitz. Had a nice little race there at Darlington. Nice little race weekend last week, heading into the All-Star race, returning to the good old North Wilkesboro Speedway for the first time in however many years.
96, yeah.
96 years. It's been 96 years since we were at North Wilkesboro.
1996, okay.
Wow, 1,996 years since we were at North Wilkesboro last. But
is it really 96? Why do I think 2004?
I thought it was
reason?
Jeff Gordon won in 96.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon.
Am I thinking Rockingham?
You're thinking
Probably,
Rockingham,
yeah.
The Rock. But anyway, quite an interesting weekend there at Darlington. Maybe start with the trucks. I didn't watch it. I didn't watch that or Xfinity. Had a busy weekend, but did anyone here watch trucks or Xfinity? Heard it was a good race.
Yeah.
At least trucks. I heard both were actually.
Yeah, truck race was really good. Had a good battle at the end with Eckes and Byron, and I mean Corey Himes, crew chief, pretty much threw that race away. He was the fastest truck, and after staying out or racing for like 20 laps, they stayed out. Everybody else pit. And so we all know how it goes with tracks like Darlington. So he fell back. He tried to do a late pit stop. I think he made it back to like 10th, but just too little too late. Raja dumped Hocevar, so that was pretty cool to see. Yeah. Hocevar was just racing him a little too hard, and Raja was fast. He had a great truck, and Raja's just like, hey man, I gotta go. And going into one, he just kind of turned him on the left rear. Let's see. Raja, I think if there was maybe 2 more laps and that race stayed green at the end, Raja would win his first race. He was quick. And he was coming. So.
He's coming.
He ended up.
He was what?
Hey. Oh, you know.
So classic.
But, yeah. He didn't. His finish didn't really show it. He got stuck behind Byron on a restart, and I don't know, he fell back to like 6th or something. But yeah, that was a great race.
Yeah. Xfinity, I did catch the end of that one. That was quite the ending, with Larson showing yet again it's a talentless hack. I wasn't happy to see Larson win. I'm not necessarily a Larson fan. I don't like this. I wouldn't say I strongly dislike him or anything, but I just hate when a race ends like that, when it's a Cup guy who takes the win over a full-time Xfinity guy. Not saying he needs to let him go easy or anything, but apart from that, I mean, like, dang, like, what a freaking finish. That was nuts, those last couple laps.
How do you feel about the entry that Larson gave John Hunter there in the going into 3? He put him in the wall. Anybody else notice that?
Well, wasn't that like if I remember right, didn't Larson go way low and John Hunter kind of followed him way low on his quarter, and then didn't really slide up with him? Like as much as I want to put it on Larson, I don't know if it seemed like Larson went low, Hunter went low on his quarter, and as they went up, he just didn't move with them, and then that contact kind of sent him up into the wall. But
so
I could be
going down
that completely wrong too.
Yeah, so just right before that, when we're still on the straightaway, right before the turn in, Larson goes up and literally squishes him up into the wall so John Hunter cannot turn into him, basically.
Mm.
And then they
dove
low, and then he got on the quarter panel of Larson, and it was just like, man, it was kind of a shitty move by Larson, you know? And half of me wanted John Hunter to win, and the betting side wanted Larson to win, so I don't know. It was a great race. There's some interesting things that happened throughout. Like, we had a caution for a guy that didn't spin out. That I don't know what the hell we're doing anymore with these cautions. And then John Hunter, after he wrecks, goes all the way across the track just to finish the race. But man, that was dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really close to collecting someone there. I forget who that was, but we finished 3rd. Like, right across the line, was, right next to him when that happened. And had there been another car, like, right behind them, or not time to react, it would have been. Was that Allgaier? I know he, like, as he came back up, he was, like, very close to hitting somebody.
Damn, Custer got third.
Wow.
Well, that's a first.
Well,
Never.
so he was running, I think, fifth, and then that last caution came out and he pit, and it was just like, that's the dumbest move ever. Apparently, it wasn't.
Apparently
It
not.
worked, yeah.
It might have been
Yeah.
Austin Hill. He almost hit someone when he was backing up and entered the racing line. And I mean, had the timing been slightly different one way or the other, like it could have been pretty bad. So, I mean, I get it. You're wrecking. You don't want to finish 20th because you got wrecked right at the finish line when you were fighting for first. But at what point is it a little too much, I guess?
Yeah. And then, I mean, we saw it on Sunday with the when the caution comes out and people, getting their spots back. Would John Hunter still have, I don't know how NASCAR is doing this anymore.
Yeah, that was a
But-
whole shit show with the Cup race. We'll get to that, but I was confused. I was. I mean, even as a Chase fan, I mean, I guess we can move into
let's
Cup.
get
I
into
was.
it, yeah.
I was like, Chase was in it. He got hit on every side imaginable, and oh darn, like there goes a top 10. No, he's restarting fourth. Oh, all right, sick. I guess I don't know how that happened, but cool. I guess. I mean, definitely. He definitely didn't deserve to be up there because he was in the wreck. I thought he was going to be done, but I mean, I'll take it, but definitely not a good look for NASCAR for sure.
Yeah, I think Bubba expressed some frustration with that. I forget it. Let me look up his tweet.
I know it was Chase, Brad, and Harvick. I know for sure benefited on that.
Yeah, he
And
posted,
they were all in the wreck too.
posted a video of Harvick's in-car view. He said, hard to accept a solid top 5 when the inconsistency is so consistent. Mind boggled how he finished behind cars caught up in a wreck. What could have been?
Yeah,
And then
silly.
I quote tweeted another tweet where someone was mentioning about them keeping positions, and he said we gained positions because we missed the wreck, and that's why he got penalized essentially because he didn't slow down enough for the wreck. But then the cars who were in the wreck
I
didn't
think
get
wasn't
pushed back.
NASCAR's reasoning they held like caution car speeds, like, well, no duh, they're getting torn to hell. They can't go any faster.
Right.
Yeah, it makes no sense. I mean, they're in the wreck. The broadcast is showing them in the wreck. Why are they getting their spots back? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if it's the 34, the 7, and the what is another mid-pack
51.
car? Yeah, the 51. Yeah, sure. Well, I said mid-pack, Joe.
He was already in a wreck.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, he was in like 10 wrecks.
Say it was those cars in that same situation. Highly doubt they're getting their spots back. Just to be
Yeah.
frank, I mean, but since it's the 4, 6, and 9, nice. Then
Nice.
I mean, it's especially the 9 involved there. Of course, is going to get his spots back. But
Okay.
I mean, spot the lie. I mean,
Yeah.
Surprised they didn't put him to the front, to be honest with you.
yeah. You know what?
Chase, why don't you go ahead and get in front of the pace car?
You did such a good job, Chase, not getting more caught up in that wreck. We're actually going to give you the win. We're going to call the race right here.
Yeah, we owe you some spots when you had your broken leg anyway, so go ahead.
Yeah. We have to have you in the playoffs, Chase. So otherwise,
gotta have
the Chase Elliott
playoffs.
effect. No one's going to
Oh,
watch. So.
boy. You imagine Chase Elliott on the playoffs.
Oh my gosh.
He's getting close to the
Yeah,
playoff.
I'm looking that up
already.
right now.
Yeah.
Standings. I'll look that up. We can keep talking.
He's I will say he's not really putting up the numbers though.
He is currently 28th in points, and he
Oh, he's not even
is.
close. Okay.
I can't do math right now. What's 217 minus 154? He's that many points out of 16th.
I don't know.
What was that, like 63 or something like that?
Yeah, so he's 63 points out. Chase Briscoe is currently
53.
16th. So,
You said 217 minus 164, right?
154.
Oh, one.
Yeah, it's 63. So, I mean, but Chase Briscoe is not fast at all right now. So that's plausible, I think, for my Chase to make that
Chase
up.
Briscoe.
in the next-
Yeah, apparently that Mahindra's
Yes.
tractor sponsorship meant he's going to drive literal Mahindra tractors in the
Yeah.
race. I didn't.
That man.
I don't
man's
think
got
they
a-
anticipated that at SHR. I don't think they saw that coming.
That man's got a push mower motor in that car right
Real
now. Hot damn.
sponsorship
Yeah.
integration there. I mean, gotta
Yeah.
love it,
There you
right?
go.
He's
Mhm.
making Rick Ware
It's-
cars look good.
I know. I mean, Newman, thought minus the 10 wrecks he was in, felt like he was
They
pretty
said
good
he was
for
fast in
He
qualifying.
finished, he finished top
Yeah.
30. It's
Yeah.
pretty,
Yeah, I mean,
pretty
good
big
for-
for a Rick Ware car.
That
Yeah,
is.
he qualified like 26, 27, somewhere in there, which, again, that's probably the best they've qualified all year.
Well,
And
what was
then-
the thing I heard? I think he qualified better. This is kind of like a convoluted thing. He qualified better than a non-alliance Rick Ware car, if I understood. So, like, not
Yeah.
like a Rick
SHR,
Ware
right?
car by SHR.
Right.
Well, was it ever like officially an SHR Rick
I
Ware
mean,
car?
they would
Or is
source
just
it.
a
There was times that, like, when Priest would
Oh,
run it, SHR
I'm
would
talking
help.
about like the car Newman ran. I never like officially
No,
saw
that
it
was a Rick Ware car. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Okay, gotcha.
It's the highest a pure Rick Ware car has ever qualified, from what I understood. That's
That
what
makes
I took
sense.
it.
Okay.
Well, and let's see, outqualified Ryan Priest, Chase Briscoe, Allmendinger, Gregson, Eric Jones, Chris Buescher.
Hot
Like-
dang, dude. Outside of Harv, those Stewart Haas cars do have those tractor motors in there.
But
Yeah.
dude, they got to be freaking the fuck out Or
That is so
when
bad.
Harvick gets out. Because what do they got?
yeah.
Where are they at? Once
I
Harvick's
mean,
gone, man,
Josh
they're
Berry.
they're in trouble.
Yeah. I'd hate that for Josh Berry. I hope he can bring some more money to them. I don't want him driving shit boxes.
Yeah. that'd
My
be-
My
That's
assumption is Ford is just holding off on doing anything with their nose until they have their new Mustang come. They're gonna have to do a redesign anyway.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
So why waste a bunch of time redesigning this nose when you're just gonna have to do it again in a year anyhow?
That's a good
I
point.
don't
man.
disagree. Yeah.
It's kind of embarrassing with how bad they've been running.
And
It
sometimes you just
really
gotta
is.
take your lumps. It's like if I can take the money that I would have spent developing this and put it towards my next one. So then
Right.
I mean,
I
even
can essentially double the investment in that rather than spend it all in this, which is gonna be outdated.
RFK's even outrunning them. Like outside of Harvick, Brad is 8th in points, Buescher's 13th. You got Harv 3rd, and then you got to go all the way down to Chase and Briscoe in 16th for points. Just
But I mean, the Fords
RF
still are rockets at super speedways. So it's not like they're
Yeah.
out at everywhere.
right.
So
RFK's stepped it up this year. I mean,
they have. Brad's
Yeah,
been
they
doing
have.
good.
yeah,
Yeah,
Brad
they-
was. Both finished top 10, I think, didn't they?
Of course, RFK did have a win last year, so
They did, yeah. Bristol Night Race with Buescher.
Brad finished 4th, Buescher finished 10th.
There you go.
Gilliland 11th.
Yeah, and front rows doing a lot better this year too. They're 21st and 22nd in points, so that's higher than Eric. It's higher than Priest. And
I
not
mean-
all the Fords are total shit boxes, but
Todd's
think-
holding that group. I mean, he's picked it up tremendously
Oh, yeah.
this year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Thought it was a good race overall, though. This
mean,
past
yeah.
week.
yeah, we got thanks Ross,
thanks,
yeah.
Ross.
Thanks, Russ.
yet
Yeah.
again.
Thanks, Joe. I'm blaming you for picking him for the freaking Survivor.
Yeah. Well,
Hey, it looked good there for a little bit. Then,
We were in the top
Good.
4, all of us.
yeah,
Like,
we
we
all were
really looked like we knew what the fuck we were talking about.
yeah.
for
there
once
for a
in
minute.
our lives. Yeah.
Did
and then-
y'all, speaking of Ross, did y'all see Justin Marks' comments about him this past week?
I'll tell you what, he sounds nervous.
Yeah. So basically,
Yeah.
if anyone didn't see it, obviously Marks before has made comments about like he doesn't want Ross to change his driving at all. Like he thinks what he's doing is fine, he's just aggressive. Like he likes his aggressiveness, kind of like his thing. He's fine with it, but
Not anymore.
not anymore. Was it a Sirius XM on somewhere he talked about, or might have just been like an interview? He talked about wanting Ross to, like, they're having to sit down, talk to Ross, and make some serious changes to his driving, because just week in, week out, she's coming up, pissing off a lot of people in the Chevy camp. I feel like some of this at least has to come, at least if not all of it, is probably coming from
Daddy Rick.
from not even Daddy Rick, just Daddy Chevy,
I
just
think
as a whole.
Yeah.
Daddy Chevy.
They're like,
Well, I
can't keep wrecking Chevy cars, and
Yeah.
because Rick said he doesn't care. I don't care if it's a Chevy their X's or a Ford or Toyota their X's. Like it's the same. Like someone wrecked us. So I think it's just coming heavily from the Chevy camp. But I'm sure Marcus is kind of tired of his race cars getting torn up and is scared of people tearing them up on for them every week. So I thought that was quite a change in tune. Again, probably coming from some higher powers there, but
Yeah, it
interesting.
was just
I
funny
think-
hearing. Go ahead, Zach.
I think Rick is the Chevy camp. I think Chevy lets HMS sort of run things for their manufacturer to some extent and have a lot of say. And I mean, they are the Chevy team. So I think when you piss off Rick, I mean, we all know Rick's all business. Like, that's why his guys are all quiet and buttoned up. You know, we say they don't have personalities, but really, Rick wants them to be professional. Rick doesn't want them getting out there and getting all sassy. I think he handles things on the back end behind closed doors. And I mean, the way what's his name? Cliff Daniels said, you know, this is number 3 now, Chevy. Like, I think they've had conversations with Chevy before. Like, this is getting old. And I didn't realize, I was watching a Kenny Wallace video. I didn't realize Trackhouse gets their motors from Hendrick. I didn't realize how that whole ECR, which is a collaboration of RCR and Hendrick.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
About to tune those motors down a little bit.
well, even, I mean, each motor is going to make different horsepower. So, like Kenny Wallace was saying, you know, well, this motor makes 5 less horsepower. That's going to Trackhouse. That's a Ross motor.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even just that, like, with as close these things are, you know, that 5 to 10 horsepower difference, that can really make a big impact. So, I don't know. It'd be very interesting to hear those phone calls that went on today or Monday, whenever they were. I'm sure. I'm sure Justin Marks wasn't too excited about it. I mean, they said some hard conversations. So yeah.
And it's weird because, you know, he could have what 10. He could have like maybe 10 wins total over the past couple of years at this point, but he only has 2, and he stopped winning pretty much when the Denny thing started, and it all went down from there. All went downhill from there for him. So, you know, it's okay to be aggressive. I want drivers to be aggressive, but you gotta be, you know, wrecking a Rick Ware car for 30th at Dover was not the best look either. So, you know.
Well, there's aggressive and there's driving over your head, and I'm trying to figure out which one Ross is. I'm not entirely sure.
I think he's a little more on the over, for me at least. I feel like he's a little bit more on the over his head part, at least recently. This is what, I don't know.
I mean, I see that, but at the same time, I think that, for instance, like at Darlington, his move there, I mean, he's being aggressive because he's trying to leave Larson 0 room possible. He's trying to like make that move. He's trying to slide up in front of him. Doesn't make it clear, but then he's still trying to give him like an inch of room between his car, Larson's car, and him, and Larson and the wall. So that's an aggressive move. Like, at the same time, yeah, he's kind of over his head because he didn't leave him any room, and then ends up turning himself across his nose. But I mean, I think that at least, I think it's at best like 50-50 aggressive. I think like he wouldn't be making those moves if he wasn't aggressive. I don't think he's just like, oh, I sent it in too hot. Oops, slid it up. I didn't mean to do that. I think he's just, his margin of error was just slightly off there. But and I think you could say that for a lot of his wrecks. If he wasn't driving aggressively, he wouldn't be making those moves. And then I think some of them are biting him just because they're aggressive. I think some of them, like Darlington, are biting him because it's aggressive and then over his head too. But I think it's still, if leaning anyway, I think it's just leaning towards aggressive because he wouldn't be making those moves to begin with if he wasn't trying to, you know, if gap carring it. So I don't know. That's kind of my thought.
Here's the thing I was thinking about today. So, you know, everybody's pissed off at Ross and already racing him harder. I think Denny Hamlin made a good point that, like, we don't necessarily see guys not giving Ross a lane or not just letting him by. Like, we don't see all the, nope, I'm not giving you this corner kind of things that go on throughout the field. So I'm sure it's happening. You know, if the whole field is racing Ross 10% harder, you know, that just makes his job that much harder. Which, if that's going on, it's so impressive. Like, it's funny, people are acting like he's not going to win the championship. Son of a gun's still leading the points, so there is that.
He is.
But what I'm wondering is, so basically Justin Marks is saying he's going to try to get a way to calm Ross down. So the problem is the rest of the field is still pissed at him. If you're somebody else in the field, are you going to believe Ross is going to calm down? And now you got to try to race against guys that are angry at you in a less aggressive manner. I'm just very interested because, I mean, the one thing we did see is after the whole Denny Hamlin thing, I think Ross did calm down throughout the rest of the season.
Right.
But we saw him slow down when he calmed down. So now you're going to try to calm him down, and I think guys are still going to race him really hard because it's going to take a little while for them to relax and start deciding that they can cut Ross brakes again. So it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out.
Right.
And I think too, with the whole, the whole they won't let him win a championship thing, I think that might be more in play this year than last year, because last year I felt like it was just kind of him and Denny and maybe someone else here and there. But this year, especially the past month, it's been, Larson, the Rick Ware car. It's been more people, and he hasn't won. He's got speed. He's got, like Rick said, he's got the talent, but he is not putting himself in great positions, and people are not cutting brakes anymore. So I would subscribe to it's going to be. I don't think he makes it to the round of 8. I think people are a little more going to. They won't flat out wreck him, but they will make his life very not fun if the playoffs. And he's still not locked in the playoffs, so
Yeah.
we'll see.
I think we've hit that breaking point for everybody to where, we kind of let Ross be Ross, and we know he races a little over his head. And I think we finally hit that point to where the drivers aren't going to allow it. And I think the best thing for Marks to do right now is to sit down with Ross and say, hey, man, you're going to cost this business money because, ECR might, hey, this part costs, more now, or if you want the good stuff, you're going to have to pay more. And, I think Marks is going to start looking at it from a business standpoint. Also, Ross is tearing up equipment, so that's costing him more money. I think you're going to see Ross kind of tone it back. I think he's going to be a 10th to 15th place car. I don't think you're going to see a lot of the bad moves that he's making. As far as the move that he made this weekend and took out Larson, it reminds me of a MotoGP phrase, your ambition outweighs your talent. And I'm not saying Ross doesn't have talent. I think he's very talented. I just think he's trying way too hard. If he throttles back a little bit there, I think there's a good chance he wins that race. And I think he's been in that position multiple times this year and maybe last year. It's just he drives over his head. And it's almost a rookie mistake kind of feel to it. But, man, I think if he tones it back, he kind of gets on the good graces of everybody, you're going to see Ross win races.
Yeah,
I think his problem is he's still driving like he's in a JD Motorsports car. Like, back in those days, like where he really cut his teeth in Xfinity, he was in like slower stuff. So he had to drive this way to get, because they always said how he always, outplaced his equipment back then. He would take a 20th place car and get a top 15, maybe top 10 out of it, and really drive aggressively to do that. And now that you're at Trackhouse, you have what I would say is probably top tier equipment. You don't need to do that. You can kind of take a step back and let it come to you and just kind of let things shake out and maybe don't go for that gap. Because, I mean, before, maybe if he doesn't go for that gap in his old equipment in Xfinity, he doesn't get that spot ever again. He doesn't get his shot again. So, I don't know, maybe that's where some of it comes from is always driving shittier stuff and feeling like you got to really push it to get the most out of it, where now that's not the case. You just got to let it come to you, and you'll put yourself in good positions more often.
Kind of checkers or wreckers with him anymore, it seems like.
Yeah.
I think you can try to strike a balance. Like, hey, Ross, maybe give Larson a foot there instead of trying to give him an inch. I think there's just ways to reel it back slightly to where he can still race hard and still like go for wins without having to put himself in situations where there's such small margins. I think just getting him to, but also like does he even get in that situation where he's in the top 2 if he's not driving the way he drives? Like, is that the only way he really knows how to drive fast? Again, like, he's got talent undeniably, but I wonder like if there's a way to like kind of strike a medium where he's still racing hard but not maybe as hard. The same.
I mean, when he worked through the field, I didn't see anything that was like overly aggressive. He seemed like he was
Fox too, so probably didn't see much of anything.
From what I saw, everything looked fairly reasonable. I mean, he was passing cars, he was doing just fine. It's just like once he got up in that front row,
right.
Him and Larson just, I don't know, he got the red mist. And maybe And maybe if second's all you get that day, then second's what you get that day. But that's a hell of a lot better than 35th or wherever you did finish.
See that? I don't think that's how Ross races.
He's
not
going
going
for
to
the
race
win.
to finish second. He's going to go for that win, which you have to, but you got to use your head, and he didn't there.
Yeah. Where did he finish? Yeah, finished 29th.
Yeah.
Still leader in points by like 20 points. So
I know that's the funny thing. Everybody's acting like he's like
20th,
27
27
on Bell, yeah.
So he's not locked in, right? So
no,
he wants that win to be locked in, but you get locked in also if you're the regular season points leader. So again, finishing second.
Do you?
Yes.
Yeah, you do. It's points
even if
leader
there's 16
the
winners.
15.
I know that we're not going to do that,
Yes.
but
Yes.
they do a provisional.
Yep.
Interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, if you were the regular season points leader and have 0 wins, you were in. So, I mean, you take the second, third, fourth. It's better than a 29th, and you're gonna extend that points lead. I don't know.
It's just all about taking what you got and getting what you can that day. Look at William Byron. He was fast, but I don't think he was a race winning car. But then all of a sudden, the two idiots out in front wrecked, and there he is winning. Getting his third win of the year.
This man is, he's a 60-point penalty away from being the points leader too. So
yeah. Here's a question. Food for thought.
Here's an answer.
Taking out Ross's history, I guess, which grain of salt, take it out. But how different is how Ross raced on Sunday different from how Larson raced on Saturday at the finish?
I can't really answer because I didn't really watch. I saw the replay. It looked like he just bounced off the wall and came down. Even check. That's all I really saw.
I mean, he left.
We all know how
left.
Larson races.
Do I?
We all know how Larson races. He's dirty.
True.
And
well, I do have an issue with that. I think people have this shiny image of Larson. He's last week when Denny got into him, everybody's like, "Oh, Denny Hamlin's so dirty." You're talking about Larson,
right?
Yeah.
You know the stuff he does.
Yeah. I can think of.
He's not exactly clean.
2 Darlington Xfinity races now where he has wrecked the guy leading at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So last year he didn't get the win because he got put in the wall when he wrecked the person, but he still wrecked the guy. He wrecked Sheldon Creed. So now he comes and he puts John Hunter in the wall. It's kind of becoming a thing.
He gets a lot of shit for being the best driver in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Ross gets a lot of stuff, deservedly so, and Larson also doesn't get as much stuff, even though he also races kind of dirty. But people, Larson
he's got
fans,
that HMS privilege.
Yeah, well, Larson fans specifically praised him for that Darlington win. Thought it was great. Everyone said it was a good finish, and then Ross, if Ross was half a car length back, what's the difference there? They just hit side by, no one spins. They just hit each other going to the wall. I'm sure everyone still crucify Ross for that too. Obviously you're wrecking each other, so that's going to escalate it too. But margin of error is not really that far off there. I think that's half a car length, and the perception's totally, that it's just a different finish. If Larson was half a car length separated at the end of that Xfinity race, he would have one way or the other at different points in the last lap, then he would have been the same result. But obviously everyone's talking all this smack on Ross for his finish, and no one's really, apart from fellow Larson deniers like myself and several of us here, it's just it doesn't feel consistent. And believe it or not, NASCAR fans can be inconsistent.
They are wildly inconsistent.
I know that's news to all of us. It's mind-boggling stuff here, but
no shot.
I mean, I don't know. I think that's just kind of food for thought there,
Yeah, I mean, we judge all the drivers on a completely unfair basis. Our favorite driver will do one thing, and then the guy we don't like will do the exact same thing, and we'll look at the situations differently. And that just comes with it, I guess.
With Kyle Busch,
heavily biased. But yeah, I don't think Larson's as squeaky clean as people like to think, for sure.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. So, other than all that nonsense, what did we think of Darlington overall, the race?
I enjoyed it.
Thought it was good. Yeah. New package looked good. They did run that, right? Or am I making that up?
I don't think so.
Did they not?
No.
Okay, no.
No.
Nope.
New package didn't look
No.
good.
We should put the new package on it though.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
especially dirty air is still a thing.
Yeah,
Very
It's
much
so
so.
It was
bad.
noticeable.
Clean air was absolutely king.
It so was.
So, Joe, I think you had made a comment about that the observation between the Xfinity
I
race and
thought,
Cup.
and I did notice this in the race, so I'm not stealing content from DVC, but like you watch both races, and Larson went to the back. I forget why, but on that last run, maybe he pit or whatever. But regardless, he was in the back and was able to drive up to the front. And yes, Xfinity, there's a greater disparity in equipment, yada yada yada. But still, he was able to drive back to the front and win the race. But in Cup, right, I immediately, Suarez and Bubba had their pit road troubles. They were top 5-7 cars that first stage, and they could not move up at all. And Freddie was even saying, they restarted 18th, and it took them, 30 laps to get to 15th.
Right.
And that just yes, there was tire fall off. I think it was it ended up being like 2.5 seconds, I think, towards the end of a run, which is great. We want tire fall off, but that doesn't matter if you can't really do anything with it. You got all this aero and whatever holding you back. You should be able, if you have a fast car, you should be able to make your way through. Maybe not back to the lead, but top 7, get your position back. I don't know. That's frustrating to me. It's baby steps. Like, we got our tire fall off. Now we got to go look at aero and maybe just run the short track package, and you don't have to worry about it. But
I mean, look at Martin Truex. To your point, he absolutely dominant.
Yeah.
And he never came back after that spin. I mean, yeah, I think
well,
on
he did
DVC.
come back, and then he
Who they
wrecked
have on
himself.
DVC? Jesse Love.
Yeah,
Yes.
just love.
He sounded like a pretty smart kid. I liked him, but he said something like, "Just take the whole floor pan off. Take that whole diffuser off and see
take
what
it all
happens."
out. Yeah,
It's a free change. You just don't put it on and see what happens. Because I mean, these things make a shitload of damn. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and it's
that underbody.
Like, do we think that there's been, the diffuser was supposed to eliminate a lot of dirty air stuff, right? To feed air back behind the car.
I've yet to see that in sports car racing.
Right. Do we think that there's been any significant change between, obviously dirty air still thing in this car, but have we seen any significant change in dirty air from Gen 6 to Gen 7?
I don't think so.
No.
I think it's so funny. They're trying to make dirty air less of a thing. So, hey, here's an idea. Let's make the car more aero dependent. Like,
right.
How does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're trying to cut out dirty air and make it less impactful, so you add more downforce to the car. That just doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, they tried to also compensate. That's why we have a wider tire and everything, is because they wanted to give more mechanical grip. But then you're going in the wrong direction again, because now we're just adding grip to the car, which isn't what you want. You want a narrower tire. You want a bigger sidewall so the car slips and slides and is all over the place. You want it to handle like shit. You don't want it to handle like a sports car, which is what, unfortunately, they thought to do with it.
Right.
So, I mean, I don't think it's unsavable, but I think we got to really start looking at getting rid of aero in any way we can, specifically in that underbody.
For sure.
And I don't know.
That is my totally, I have an engineering degree, not really, opinion.
Yeah, and that's where I don't know how these cars work. I don't know if it's as easy as unscrewing a couple things and you take the underbody out. But I mean, they test these things at Martinsville all the time. Why can't you just, while you're building these test cars, just, hey, don't put that there and let's try that.
Didn't they do that? Didn't they run some tests without the diffuser?
The diffuser's only part of it, though. The diffuser's only the back part, and I don't know if they ran it without it totally.
They did
but I mean,
I remember something. They ran it with a modified or removed or something.
I'm saying take that whole.
Take it all out.
The flat
There's a
under panel.
whole under panel under there. Under there, yeah. Take that whole dang thing out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And
so, I kind of with this, and Zach might have caught it too. Jesse Love said the ARCA series was the fastest cars.
Oh yeah,
Phoenix.
We knew
Dover.
that.
Oh yeah.
Didn't they
out-qualify
Cup in Charlotte?
fastest.
I think the Coke
Yes.
600 they out-qualified Cup last year.
I remember
that was
that,
last year. I
but
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised to hear it Phoenix and Dover, but we can't have that. We can't have these kids that, I mean, they're 16 years old, some of them, and they're out here running faster than our, elite drivers.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. So
I mean, we need
know.
horsepower.
To be fair, it's probably one ARCA car that outran him, and then the rest were about 50 miles an hour on the track.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
still.
That's true.
You got like 15 Venturini cars in ARCA, so they're all the same
Yeah.
at that point. Just make it an IROC series and call it good. But we need to add horsepower. We need to get less mechanical grip. We need to raise the car up so we can get air underneath the cars, get rid of the diffusers. I mean,
Smaller tires and all that stuff,
yeah. So
or wheels, whatever.
NASCAR needs
it's-
to put us in charge, honestly.
I know.
yeah,
Well, I'll
Yeah,
tell you what. The
right.
one thing I did hear in DVC that I'm pretty sure it was DVC that I was like, oh yeah, that sounds about right. Is they were talking about these cars and they were looking at them. Somebody was at like a sports car race. I forget who was even telling the story, but somebody was at a sports car race and they saw them and they're like, yep, that's what our cars need to look like. Or maybe it was Kenny Wallace. I can't remember. I watched so much shit today. I can't remember. I heard anything. But anyway, some NASCAR executives were at a sports car race and saw it and says like, that's what we need our cars. Like that's where it all happened. Right there.
probably Road America.
I don't remember. I can't remember really the details of it. I forget I heard it.
Yeah.
I mean, so you asked if the Gen 6 versus, the current, if it's gotten better. I think it's gotten worse. I mean, the drivers have mentioned how side drafting's not really a thing anymore. So, I don't know. I think we went the wrong way. Get rid of the diffuser. Let's try that. I mean, we had a good race. But
we did. We
it could
did.
be
Yeah,
better.
I mean, I think Darlington to me, even though it's not like super passy, it's like
You gotta race
it's like
track.
Monaco. It's like the same thing I like about
Mhm.
Monaco. I like about Darlington. Like Monaco isn't necessarily a super racy track, and I know nothing in F1 really is, but Monaco and Darlington is when you get to see the skills of the drivers really go out there. Like when you see those guys inches away from the wall at Darlington run the high line, it's like just as cool as when you
It's
see
nuts.
them in Monaco, how they're actually scraping the wall with the inside tire when they're going around some of them in Monaco. Like it's just nuts when you see the precision that these guys can put out there on the track. Like that's why I love Darlington. Like even there's not that much passing. Like I just love seeing the skill displayed.
I mean, I will say, I know we said, and I agree that we haven't seen much difference between, at least dirty air, between Gen 6 and Gen 7. I will say, I feel like the Gen 7 is, I know, across a lot of tracks has raced a lot better. I feel like Darlington's one of those. I feel like we maybe had, and I could be remembering completely incorrectly, but I feel like we might have had some pretty lackluster Darlington races in the Gen 6. Whereas I feel like
I think the 550 ones were bad.
yeah, the 551. So I feel like I mean, even
They started running the 750 there, didn't
they
they?
did like right towards the end
Yeah.
of the Gen 6, like
Yeah.
last year or two.
Weird horsepower and less downforce.
Crazy, right?
Crazy idea. Yeah.
Concept.
But I think that, I thought it was a good race overall, even if passing for the lead wasn't too practical. Thought it was pretty good. Kind of to your point too, even when they got kind of thinned out, it's still just like, man, what a track. I love that track, man.
Mhm.
We can't forget to give William his flowers too. Man
true.
hung in there, and I mean, yeah, like I mentioned earlier, if it wasn't for that little NASCAR Hendricks spat, he'd be leading the points by think
Spat? You mean when they cheated?
Yeah. That little mistake they made,
That little.
little oopsie.
Whoopsies.
But I
My
mean,
bad.
even without that, it just feels like, and I think I texted to somebody or not, like Willie might mess around and win a championship this year. He's,
I
he's
expect it.
fifth in points, 42 back, and if he keeps
Kenny
this up,
Hamlin
he'll
called
be-
it.
Yeah, and
He's-
love me
he's
some
due.
William.
He's due for one, for sure. I mean, he's really developed a lot over the past few years. I feel like before he was definitely kind of, it's like him and Bowman might have been, nothing against Bowman, but him and Bowman were kind of on the same level, where I feel like he's definitely elevated at this point. And cool story from him too. Like he says, granddad passed away that past week, and cool Mother's Day win too. So cool to see him like have some emotion there on the finish line. I always love to see that kind of emotion, personality from the drivers and stuff, especially in the Hendrick camp. So pretty good.
That paint scheme too.
Yeah.
Yeah, really great paint scheme, except for the blank space I can't get that out of my head. I'm
Thanks.
going to bring it up every time.
Thanks, Taylor Swift.
But I did not make a Taylor Swift reference there. I just
I
said
did,
the
so.
blank space. Okay, whatever. But real quick, I gotta back my boy Alex Bowman. He before broken back, he was top 1 or 2 in the points. So he's doing good too.
Not anymore.
So
don't
they
break-
removed him from the points. Do you think he gets a
Yeah,
waiver?
I did see that. I was looking through the points and I'm like, I don't see the 48.
Yeah, they removed him.
I think he's 17th.
He'll get a
Yeah,
waiver.
they
Yeah,
did
he's like
skip 17 don't they, in the standings right now.
in owner's points, he's like 16th. So he's around there for the playoff cutoff. But I don't think he'll be back this week, or I think he said he's got a
And-
doctor's appointment tomorrow, and they'll see if he can come back. But
If they were smart, they'd pay that doctor to say he's out for 2 more weeks because coming back for North Wilkesboro just seems like,
That's
gonna be
why rush it?
brutal.
It's an all-star,
Yeah.
not a points race.
Right.
Then the Coke 600,
Yeah.
like the longest race possible. No, like take 2 more weeks off, come back. It's a freaking back injury, man. Like,
Right.
let it
those are
heal.
brutal.
Take your time, man.
yeah, I agree. Hey, they're race car drivers, though. They wanna run.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
you race, you know.
I raced with a broken collarbone.
Oof.
I
like
can't
2
imagine
weeks
how
after
painful that
surgery.
was.
It wasn't actually.
Just-
Putting the suit on was the worst part because I don't know, it was
Oh, I
tight in the
bet.
shoulders, but
Yeah.
I mean, once you're on track, you don't feel it. And
yeah, adrenaline takes over.
I look back on it, it was dumb as shit, you know. But
Probably.
I wanted to get right back on track. I knew what I wanted at the beginning of the season. I wanted to win a championship, and missing a race weekend wasn't going to do that for me. So,
Yeah.
he's probably in the same boat. But man, if you're Rick Hendrick, I mean, that's your driver with a back injury. Let him sit out.
Right.
Which did you guys hear that a lot of the other drivers are now not allowed to race dirt?
I did
Oh,
not
that was
hear-
already a thing.
When did that?
Yeah.
I know for Gibbs and Penske that's always been a thing, but who got added to the list?
So you mentioned on DBC, but it kind of sounds like Stenhouse isn't. Bell already
Interesting.
was, I believe, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Gibbs
he's
kind of
already
has a
allowed.
no. Gibbs
Yeah.
has a no extracurricular rule.
But they said that they weren't going to say who else, and I was like, man, who else runs it? So probably Chase,
Hendrick,
because Chase
probably Hendrick. Yeah.
Yeah, and Larson, I don't know if he's still out there racing dirt. I think so.
I mean, he owns a dirt series. I would think he'd still want to run,
Yeah.
but Daddy Rick rules overall. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean that or Trackhouse, I guess. Those are the only other. This doesn't or doesn't. I forget if they do anything, but I don't know.
I don't think they do.
Yeah. Last thing on the race, though, we had old cousin Carl in the booth,
Yeah,
resurrected from the dead.
Sounds like a pro up there.
Yeah, that must be what he was doing in his spare time, just practicing broadcasting. So they did pretty good.
practicing while he's on his sailboat.
It'd be a real shame if he took Clint's spot.
Oh
Gosh.
yeah, real shame.
Yeah, be a real shame, crying shame. But yeah, I thought he did pretty good.
I thought he did too.
Thought old Richard Petty did a great job too. Just really carried a
Yeah.
lot in the booth there.
Yeah.
I
Bill,
think NASCAR did a good job throughout the weekend with the NASCAR 75 drivers
Mhm.
too. I will say though, Sterling Marlin, man, I love him, but I think his health
isn't he sick with
Oh,
something?
is it Alzheimer's or Parkinson's? Parkinson's.
It's Parkinson's. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just sad, man.
Yeah, I mean, there was a picture with him, Richard Petty, and I can't remember the other person. It was just like, oh man, like it's not the Sterling Marlin of old.
No,
But Carl did good. I liked Mike Joy and Clint kind of trying to pry information out of him to see, what he's up to, if he's coming back. Sounds like he made a trip to Trackhouse to run their simulator.
wink. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they were mentioning it like where he wants to get into a simulator, and I'm like, please do like junior, get into an Xfinity car,
Ooh.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Or
But,
at least his like late model car or something.
Yeah, just anything. But it sounds like he went to Trackhouse, tried that out. Who knows how that went. I don't think we'll ever see him really in a cup car. But
I never
Project
seen that.
91, who knows?
Yeah.
yeah, no.
I know this will be surprising. I thought Bill Elliott was kind of meh.
Weird. An Elliot that's just meh?
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
so weird. No way.
I
I don't know where
mean,
Chase gets his crazy personality from.
But am I wrong? I mean, obviously he's not an announcer. He probably never wanted to be. It just felt like he always just gave like little 3-word like, yeah, Clint, I
How he
agree.
always was.
Yeah. So I don't know.
You go down to that pool room and you tell him that.
I sure will. Not do that. But no,
He
that's
was
great.
never talkative back in the day.
And I thought
Called Ross
I
a
thought it was-
child. I thought that was pretty funny.
No, it's funny. Yeah.
I thought like when Kyle and Richard were out there, like introduced him and like Lee Petty won all these championships and races, and we obviously Richard won a million races, and Kyle won like 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, was Kyle the one that compared Blaney to
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
what's his face?
And then we compared Kyle with Austin Dillon.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Kyle Petty.
He's something.
That he is. That he is. Well, yeah, good old Darlington, man. Can't beat it.
Love it. Can't wait. I still wish the throwback weekend was Southern 500.
Yeah.
Well, hold
it's
on.
wrong. That's so wrong.
Why didn't we make North Wilkesboro throwback weekend?
I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
also,
Michael's doing it.
the one thing
Michael is doing it.
somebody said was it might be like looked at as a bigger sponsorship opportunity type thing.
It's
Like
true.
so sponsors are less excited about changing their logos around and all that. They want to keep their brand identity for an event that's that big, especially with this one being such a
Makes
big
sense.
deal.
Right.
And I should clarify. I said that's so wrong that Throwback Weekend is now and not Southern 500. It should absolutely be Southern 500.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I got kind of want to make sure I'm clear on that.
Fair.
I did agree with Zach.
Hmm.
I know first, right?
Yeah.
Usually you just steal my ideas instead of agree with them.
That's not true.
Well, quickly we can talk on our Fox flubs of the week. Obviously, they were aplenty. I can start with mine. Mine came from the Xfinity race. End of, I think it was stage 2. I mean, he got him rubbing doors, coming to the line, like fighting for it out of 4. Like less than a 10th, less than a 100th of a second between the finish. And it's just silence from the exit of turn 4 to the cross line. It's like, who's going to get it? I think it was Larson. And it was just like,
Was it Larry Mack? It's like, oh, he got him.
yeah, that was it.
And
Yeah.
then it was it until after the line. It's just
Nothing.
like
It's like,
Oh, he
like,
got him and commercial.
like I mean, I can't. Yeah, it's
out of 4, like right out of 4, he said it, and then
Right.
that whole straightaway to start and finish line, nothing.
nothing. Not like, oh, they're banging door. Like I just think Rick Allen would have done a great job on it. But it's just like,
Oh yeah.
it's amazing how much broadcasters can add to a broadcast and also in turn take away from it. Like we keep talking about Formula One. The races suck, but the broadcasters make it super exciting. A pass is about to happen. They get all excited. They get like out of their seats. They're like screaming just for the one pass that's going to happen in that race, and it adds so much to the race. And it's just such a huge miss every week. And every broadcast from Fox, zero excitement, zero energy, just ruins it. So that was my flub of the week.
Only 3 more races, not counting Wilkesboro.
Yeah, I guess I didn't really have a specific one. I felt like having all those guest analysts made Clint less bad because he wasn't talking as much.
Yeah.
And I mean, disclaimer, I mean, I watched the race, but I didn't have it like turned up all the way. I just like be on Twitter or whatever and watch the race in the background. So I didn't really hear anything egregious, or I'm sure they did a caution side by side and all that shenanigans, but I don't know, not the worst week for Fox. So they get a thumbs up for me.
Yeah.
For coverage.
Yeah.
I don't really have one that jumps out to mind, but I wasn't really paying super close attention to the broadcast. We'll go with Fox Flub of the Week is having Kyle Petty as your guest analyst. Who gives a fuck what Kyle thinks?
It's true. That's a good point.
Yep. I got nothing. I mean, it's basically the same stuff we cover every week on it. So
I had one for last week and I forgot to say what it was. Oh, you know what it was? All right, we're gonna make this retroactive to last week because I don't think we did Fox Flubs last week. Kansas, when Christopher Bell ran into Ross Chastain and they didn't have a camera on it, so they decided to use their awful 3D images.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ugh.
I was like, what in the hell are you doing?
What are you doing, man? Just what a ugh. Hey, yeah.
That was a classic Fox movie.
Classic.
There you
Fox
go. I have
moment.
one from that.
Here's our 3D render that it's never really actually
Yeah.
accurate, and here
Yeah.
it goes.
It's never accurate at any point in the
Yeah.
history of the 3D render, but we're going to use that to try to describe what happened.
Yeah. What a good time. Well, cool. Well, Darlington, good race. Moving on to North Wilkesboro.
Always.
Dude, I'm pumped, man.
Yeah, boy.
I'm pumped for this.
Hey, Friday. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I would say Friday night we get Ross and Kyle in the truck race and a points race. So maybe some short track shenanigans there.
Yeah.
To look forward to.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm excited, man. So all-star race format this year. Got the pit crew challenge. It's going to determine the starting lineup for the heat
Say
races.
Friday night.
Oh, are they doing that? I did
Mhm.
not know they were doing that.
Yeah, pit crew challenge is quality.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
I remember when they
But-
had that at Spectrum, and you could go see that. Those were the days.
Trucks race on Saturday.
Yes.
To
You said
Saturday.
Friday night.
Saturday we can do it then. Get it right, please, Joe.
Yeah.
Then after the pit crew challenge, then it's the two 60-lap heats, followed by the 100-lap All-Star Open with a comp break at lap 40. Top two move on, and also the fan vote obviously moves on from then. And then after that, you have the 200-lap All-Star race with a comp break at lap 100. I think it's a little obviously different format since we're at a new track this year, just with the lap counts and everything like that. I think the actual overall format might be a little bit different too, but I'm very much so looking forward to this one. Lindsay's parents are in town this weekend, so I'm gonna try to. Luckily, they generally like to watch the NASCAR races with me, so hopefully I can
Good.
catch their attention for a majority of Sunday to watch all of it.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty excited for this.
Yeah. Even the late model race tomorrow is loaded too, so that'll be something to watch.
Is that on
if you-
Flow or something, or is that?
Yeah.
I believe
Yeah.
so. I know. I'm gonna look up who is. Well, aren't there a couple different races? Because
Yeah.
I know there was supposed to be one tonight and it got rained out because it's.
Yeah, you got late models, super lates, Cars Tour, and then I think there's some other kind of late model
Yeah,
going.
that's storming.
I got a couple
storming
few
it up.
things.
Storming it up here in North Carolina tonight. So,
Yeah, tonight's race I think got postponed until tomorrow.
yeah, I'm trying to find
But-
that entry list.
So, who do you guys think makes it from the open to the main?
What we have is
Josh
it
Berry.
Is it still 3 spots in the fan vote, right?
2 in a fan vote.
2 in a fan vote. Okay. Let me get the entry list here. Or you put
I
it in
think
chat.
I think Barry. Honestly, I see Priest maybe making it.
Yeah, he's a
Priest,
short track guy. Corey LaJoy. I
I
could
could
very
see
I
well
think that's
see.
your fan vote.
Yeah,
he's
I
in the
think
fan
he's
vote.
definitely no. It's what's his
Jesse
You
name?
think
Uji?
Corey's the fan vote? I don't
Jesse
know.
Uji, for
Yeah.
sure.
Right?
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
forgotten
Jesse
that.
Uji. Yes.
I mean, who else in there's gonna get it?
Yeah,
I'd say
I mean-
Barry would probably be up there, but I think Barry races his way in.
You would only say Ty Gibbs because he has a Gibbs car, but he hasn't.
Does
really
he have
shown-
any fans?
Oh, you're talking about fan vote or just racing in?
Fan
Yeah.
vote.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I mean, I
Corey-
said racing in too, but
I think Corey's the fan vote clearly. If he doesn't
Yeah.
race his way in.
Yeah, I mean, out of everyone else there, unless someone gets could Graxon win it though? I feel like Graxon.
I don't think
might.
after
Not
I
after
don't
getting
think he-
fucking rocked by Chastain.
yeah, I
Do
don't,
you not
I
With a
don't
think-
know
bowl
about
I
cut.
feel like Barry might. Yeah, true. I think Barry might get it.
Barry,
I think
Barry
Barry-
could be a.
I think Barry's gonna get in on.
He's gonna race in.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. I don't know.
If he doesn't race in,
he's the
But
fan
even
vote,
if they
yeah.
even if they win, how does that work again? If they race their way in, but then also win the fan vote,
it goes to
goes
whoever's
to second.
not.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you race your way in, you're locked in, and if you won the fan vote, it goes to whoever's second.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So there
Yes.
will be 25 people starting the race, no matter what.
yeah,
just-
and I mean, fan vote winner BJ McLeod, make it happen.
Please.
I don't know.
No.
I can't even think of who's all not in it. I'd have to see the field to have
Yeah.
a good pick at that. But I think Josh Berry would be the one if he doesn't make it. He picks fan vote, I think.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the list, it's just, I mean, Eric Almirola is not going to do anything.
No.
I don't think either of the colleague cars are really going to have short track speed. Harrison Burton's not going to. Michael McDowell?
Maybe?
I mean,
I
we
can
saw
see a
him
front
at
row car being
Bristol.
up there.
Yeah, he's had some speed
Yeah.
at some tracks.
So, I don't know. Ty Gibbs, I just haven't seen anything really besides for, his streak of top 10 finishes. But that's not going to get you into the All-Star race.
No,
Maybe he
it's
goes
not.
all Chastain
Of course, who
on
are
it
you
and lets
against, though?
everybody. What was that?
Who you racing against though? So like in a All-Star Open field, does top 15 give you a win? Normal top 15 speed give you a win in the All-Star.
Oh, I mean,
Based on who is
I don't
in the
know.
All-Star race, yeah.
could I see Chandler Smith maybe being up there to compete.
Is he in the Open?
He's in 13.
Oh,
He'll be the top colleague finisher, I think.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, AJ's been really nowhere this year outside of Coda.
Yeah, I think you're gonna see Barry Priest, maybe Chandler. I just don't see anybody else really gonna be fighting up there, unless if they bring their big horsepower car, and try to win this thing. I just don't see that from these teams.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. I am excited though to kind of see how that all plays out. So I guess it's top 2 from that break on lap 40, which obviously is different from how it's been at least some years past, where it's the 3 stages and then the winners from all 3 stages make it in, and that's how they used to do it back in the day. So
it's the break at 40 that they take to, and then
my notes say. It says
no, it's
top break at
there's
lap
a
40.
break
Okay, gotcha. Just top 2 at the end.
Yeah. Yep, top 2 at the end.
Gotcha. So obviously very different from what it used to be. So
I like simple formats.
yeah.
This is pretty simple. I like it. The 200 lap race with one break in the middle.
Yeah, not like that.
Yeah, shout out to them
crazy-
for letting the racetrack be the show. Like
Yes.
they kept trying to make this All-Star race entertaining by having all these wacky, crazy formats. Oh boy, are we doing a
I don't feel like they're really
top 6 invert or top
trying
12?
anything. They're not really like testing anything
Nope.
this time either. Like no underglow, not testing stages obviously.
I think underglow was very underappreciated. That was a great idea for the
properly.
It was just the back, and it was manufacturer specific. If there was more, if it was around the whole car, and they could pick
Sponsor
the color,
colors.
yeah, it would have been way cooler. But
like the number placement.
some thunder happening down here, Joe.
Yeah, it's starting to come in hot here.
Yeah,
Thunder Roll.
shut
All
up.
right, no, it's not my guitar.
We're gonna
I'm
get
shooting.
yeah, not
my
Joe's
guitar this week.
Zach's gonna get his copyright striked from all our ad revenue we're getting from this. So thanks a lot, Zach.
Sorry, guys. Demonetized.
$0 of ad revenue.
So the pit crew challenge, I really hope they don't ruin it, because
Just do it like the old days. It was great back then.
yeah, the old days were I don't know. They had the original one, which was awesome, but then they're like, oh well, you gotta drive 20 feet, stop, do it, drive 20 feet, and then they're like, oh, you gotta do a whole lap. Like, get rid of all that shit. Let's just.
Yeah, how they made it.
I honestly
Texas.
liked where they had to like push the car and shit.
Yeah.
Like, that was
yeah.
pretty cool.
Like, are you talking
I
about
don't think
when they had
last year wasn't a bad idea. Just like it wasn't a bad thing to try, but it just didn't work.
Yeah.
Like, last year was where they did like the drag race to the pit box, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then they did the pit stop, and then they did. I mean, in
I didn't
theory,
like
that
that.
sounds like it'd be cool, but once you see it in reality, like, oh, this guy just left with like half a second lead. Nothing exciting is going to happen now.
Yeah,
And it's
No,
like,
I like the drag race
Take me back to
aspect
the-
as a drag race fan, but
my favorite one was when they would do qualifying and come into
yes,
pit road.
full speed.
Oh,
Screaming.
yeah. That was awesome.
the best.
that was
sir.
peak, absolute
That's-
peak.
I don't know. I like the Nextel Cup stuff where they like had a
Like in the
whole
arena.
arena
Yeah,
shut
that's
down
awesome.
and
I went a couple of those. Those were you could get lug nuts too, because they were just throwing them out to the crowd. Those were fun.
yeah.
And that's when Charlotte had all Speed Street, like the whole week in
yeah.
between All Star and the Coke 600, like all uptown was it was Speed Street. It was awesome, and now it's just all at the track, which kind of sucks. But we miss Speed Street. That's
Yeah.
Charlotte,
RIP.
folks.
Yeah.
Charlotte, baby. Number 2 pick.
Oh, NBA,
But-
everyone loves that.
Mhm.
But moving on to a real sport, NASCAR. I am excited, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I guess moving on. Kill count, little update points for us there. Andrew, what you got?
Let's see. We had Eric Jones lose a tire. I know Zach doesn't like it, but either way,
I
it's
don't.
the
I don't
team, it's the
disagree. I don't
driver.
agree with it.
I mean,
That's the pit crew. Put a caveat
It's
in
his
there
team,
for
isn't
the
it?
pit crew.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a team.
yeah. Team
Maybe
sport.
he should do
I'm
a better
giving it to him.
job at driving with a tire off the car.
Yeah, when he feels the tire coming loose, maybe he should get out of
Maybe
the way.
if he had some car control, maybe he should, have
Yeah.
saved
I'm
the car.
filing. Fine.
Truex was 6th when he spun out in front of everybody, and then obviously Ross. We're adding 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
Good old Ross. He's quickly going up the list after.
He's good for something.
Surprised he's not already
what-
at the top, but obviously a lot of the wrecks.
We talk
think-
about him every week.
I had-
but yeah, he just doesn't.
I have heard a stat. They're talking on all the different things. Like, I guess in the last 13 races, he's 9 incidents or something like that.
Jeez.
He'd
His
be-
Not
SR
all his
would-
fault, but
his-
he's been
his-
involved in 9.
His SR would be very
I
low.
was gonna say definitely
He's about to
demoted.
lose his A class.
Yeah, he's definitely demoted in B class.
Yeah.
Oh, Big Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
What's,
I did not.
I thought you just farted.
Well, scared the shit out of me. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, well, cool. Well, good ads. Do you want to move on to Survivor Pool? Then we'll hit
Ooh,
OnlyFans
yeah.
and some betting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Zach, give us a little, just a little update on the Survivor Pool. Why don't you?
Drake lost because William Byron was DQ'd for
Oh, that's
Yes.
weird. I don't
having
remember that
too
happening.
big blank space on his car.
Yes.
Drake won, which was annoying.
Whoa!
Oops, not lost a bitch there.
I was counting my points. I'm like, yeah, I'm taking the lead this week. And then Ross just sends it in. And
Wait, are we doing this for the All-Star race or no?
I mean, we could just pick, but like we're not.
Yeah.
actually
Fun
Yeah,
pick.
we'll count it. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Fun pick.
So yeah, Drake won with Byron. I came in second with Kyle Busch, who was looking good up until that last pit stop. Fucked that up. And then dude, I don't know what it is, but between Kyle and Christopher Bell, like last week at Kansas, they both wrecked out within laps of each other. This week, they both had shitty pit stops within laps of each other. Like it is not not been a good couple weeks for my fandom. So I was second with Busch in 7th, and then Andrew and Joe with the 2 that were fighting, Kyle Larson and Ross Chastain. Andrew had
Joe.
Larson, who actually
You're
finished
welcome.
20th. I'm surprised by that, and then Chastain 29th. So
We
we can pick for the Coke 600 now. We can wait, or we're gonna do an episode after the
Let's
what you call
let's
it,
wait for the
All-Star, I
600.
imagine.
I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about after this weekend.
Ooh, more Big Thunder.
I don't want to pick for
Yeah, we don't have to pick. We don't have to pick for.
I really just wanted the score update. That's all I really wanted. So.
Yeah.
score
Yeah,
update. Is
sure he
Drake is
did.
leading by
What?
a lot.
Oh
he's got a
man.
full race lead now.
Yeah, he's got 4 points. Drake at 37. Andrew's second at 33. I'm third at 32, and Joe is yet to break out of the 20s. So
The hell, man.
Doing great.
That's why I don't gamble. That's why I do
Doing
not
great, Joe.
gamble.
Dude, I don't get. I'm terrible at it. I had $25 in DraftKings and did like a season of just dollar bets, and I lost every single one. I did not make a penny,
Oh man.
so I'm not good at it.
Rough.
And our Denny Hamlin bracket challenge is just completely busted. I don't even know.
Oh,
where
I
that
haven't
is.
even, I haven't
thrown
checked that. It's
It's-
dead. Yeah.
I did see somebody did the betting odds for it, which was pretty cool to see. They made a whole list that showed, if one of the sports books had the bracket up, like what the odds would be. And it was pretty good. I liked it. Ross is actually the favorite. Surprisingly. enough.
Shocker.
Love
We are halfway through the season, by the way, boys. Regular season.
No.
Don't remind me.
How many
Team
more
of
until
26.
NBC?
3. Well, 4 if you count All-Star.
One more
We
month.
got All-Star,
until we're
Coke
done.
600, Gateway, and Sonoma.
Love that.
NBC picks up.
I'm actually excited for
Nashville.
Sonoma. for many reasons.
I love that we're not running the carousel at Snow. Random.
Yeah.
You're breaking out.
Am I?
Yeah, I think you're just
your mic
talking
ain't picking
quiet
up.
and you're.
You're good.
I just
There
said
you
I'd
go.
love that we're not running the carousel at Sonoma anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
I don't know why they ever switched. The other layout's better.
Yeah.
Way better.
Well, cool. Well, moving on then to some. You want to do betting first or OnlyFans first?
I mean, I'll hop into betting real quick.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a light betting week. We did have a really good weekend this past weekend. I mean, we almost hit Raja plus 10,000. Sadly, he didn't win, but we got Larson on Saturday and we got Byron on Sunday. So good betting week. I was talking to Zach beforehand, and I don't really know. So the Open, everybody's plus odds. Josh Berry is like plus 150. Might be worth a bet. But the guys I was looking at, and I think a lot of people are going to miss this, is there was a tire test at North Wilkesboro, and there's 3 drivers who attended. And one of them I like to bet, Tyler Reddick plus 2,500.
Dang.
Ooh.
So
Okay.
I think
Damn.
that's really good odds. I don't see him as a short track racer, but he's been there. The other 2 drivers were Austin Dillon and Chris Buescher. And Buescher said he did over 100 laps. So it's a good amount of laps to, get the feel. So I think Tyler Reddick plus 2,500. It's a pretty good bet.
Yeah, I like that. Cool. Well, moving on then to OnlyFans. I think we forgot this segment last week. I think we have at least one from last week. And then maybe some more from this week, potentially. I don't know. Andrew?
Yeah, so we have one from one of our foreign listeners,
Yeah.
Leroy/Liam/the Brit.
Come on.
Asks, your personal favorite NASCAR race to ever watch? One of mine was the 2001 Hera 500 at Texas. Has had it on VHS as a kid. Drake would approve of the winner. Good old Dale Jarrett.
DJ, baby.
Is this one that you have watched or just like to watch whenever?
What's your favorite race to watch? Like, have watched? Joe, you probably stopped watching early, so...
Okay.
What's the favorite first 2 stages you've watched? In recent memory, honestly, my favorite race to watch, this isn't going to be a big surprise to anybody, the 2021 Daytona 500. I mean, that moment for me, I was in... Lindsay's parents have a house in Ohio. It's like a small little town up there, and we were there. And I mean, it was like 12:30. I'm the only one awake. Like the living room's right next to her parents' room, so I'm literally sitting there like watching the ending of this race, and I was like still silent cheering, silent screaming, pumped out of my mind, up out of my seat, fist bumping, that's I mean, to have a small underdog team like that win the biggest race of the year was just pinnacle of my recent NASCAR memories for sure. So that's up there for me 100%.
Yeah, I'm sure these are all going to be like that because mine's I got 3 favorites really, and they're just the ones I've been most excited for in recent memory. And the first would have been Kyle Busch winning at RCR. That was pretty awesome to see that happen at Fontana. I know it's very recent, but I was super excited for that. After the whole JGR thing and switching teams, and you're always wondering is he going to be able to win again or whatever. So as a fan, seeing that was awesome. And then the loudest I probably got was either the Roval last year or Martinsville last year when Christopher Bell won. Just those 2 walk-off wins. That was when I was like, God damn it, I like the playoffs and I'm annoyed about it. Because I could feel the hype that the playoffs give you. It was in that moment, the playoff structure as it was is what kept my driver alive for championships. Fuck. I like them.
Yeah.
I could see their appeal. So I think the Martinsville one was probably my favorite, just because seeing him actually get up there and wheel it. I forget where he restarted on that last restart. It was 3rd or 4th or something like that. And just passing being so hard, seeing him get up there, and I think it was Chase Briscoe was leading. Kind of rough Briscoe out of the way a little bit. Like it was just cool. I was just screaming the whole time. Then of course it's all ruined. Thanks, Ross. Everybody talks about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, a couple no surprises. I mean, Chase winning the title at Phoenix, and a favorite in-person one was the Roval when Harvick wrecked himself.
Oh, that was so good, dude.
One.
That was so fun to watch live.
Yeah, we were there, and I jumped out of my seat. That was great. I mean, of course, the 2001 Pepsi 400. I love just watching that every now and then. That's a fun race. I had one more. The Martinsville when Kenseth lost a right front and Jeff Gordon won. That's just
classic moment.
I always go back and watch. I'll watch that Radioactive like once a month just to, that's just such a fun race because he had that and then Jeff Gordon got his last win and all that fun stuff. So a couple off the top of my head.
So for me, most of mine are gonna be really old. I enjoyed the old Die Hard 500s at Talladega, and not really any particular. Maybe like 2000 when they had the roof spoilers. I talk about it all the time. Like that race was just freaking crazy. But I mean, they also had the no bowl races there, so they always kind of seem to get those four drivers always just it's another battle on the track, right? And I kind of miss having those no bowl million races, but besides for that, I mean, obviously Darlington 2003, Kurt Busch, Ricky Craven, that race was phenomenal. And then this one might seem a little odd, but Marcus Ambrose winning at Watkins Glen, like the racing on that last 2 laps was just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great races all around. Any other OnlyFans for this week?
That's it.
Cool. Well, you can submit your own OnlyFans by going to our website, thegwcpod.com. You can see the form on there, as well as get a link to our Twitter, which is also at the GWCpod on Twitter, as well as a link to all our episodes on all our platforms there. You can also find us on the YouTubes at the Green White Checkered Podcast. We do live streams, so shout out to anyone tuning into the live streams. And then you can always, of course, watch the VOD replays there as well to see our beautiful faces. But I think that's about it for this week, wouldn't y'all say?
Yeah.
Cool.
I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
I think so.
Well, per usual, thank y'all for listening. If y'all have a quick second, want to throw up a rating for us on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on, it obviously helps just with spreading the word, hitting the algorithms, things like that. If you're watching this on YouTube or the live stream, hit a thumbs up. That also helps with algorithm stuff there. So just tell your friends.